Hey, gross. Hi, my name is Anna, and I'm a singer.
Hi, my name is Peyton, and I'm a dancer.
And today, what are we doing today?
Today, we are back quickly with another DKB reaction, as promised.
So, we released a DKB reaction a few weeks ago to their first two releases, and in that video we said that we would be back soon with their other two releases because they did have a comeback fairly recently, so here we are. The two videos that we'll be watching today are, first, Work Hard, 난 일해, and then the second is their recent comeback, All In, 줄 거야. So, let's go?
Go!
It's fine. Looks whack.
Yeah. Yeah. So brave for you.
Based on the For You... Huh?
Go ahead.
No, based on the For You, in the beginning I was like, is this supposed to be like Work Hard For You?
Oh, maybe. I was gonna say the styling in the blue in front of the like super traditional painting is a really interesting image, or sculpture in the background. It reminds me of the scene in Sorry Mama when they're destroying the painting.
Oh! What was that? Yep, it is. Working hard for you.
The dance is so trendy.
Yeah, I noticed that. Why do I feel like this is their, because they're like very hip-hop, this is their version of like the cute release as a rookie group?
I was thinking something similar. I was like, this is the cutest that we've seen them yet.
Oh,
Like, especially the office shots and like at the car. Their facials are cute.
it's all the personality in it. Why are they floating? Why are they floating? What?
Are they just so full of love?
What
What is going on?
I don't know.
Cute. Alright, so let's start with talking about the music video. So, like, the song is saying, I'll work hard for you, like, I'll make you feel like a princess. I just really liked the way that they had shown that in sort of a playful way in the music video, because the scenes with the smaller groups where they're working the different jobs, they're more like physically taxing or mentally taxing jobs, like being a mechanic or sitting in an office is like a very mentally taxing thing. But the girl is always shown in like high-end sports car, her nails are done, she's got on like the red lipstick, which is something that's very sophisticated. She's drinking wine, and then she's eating, I'm pretty sure it's like a steak at the beginning, which is like a more expensive meal. So I just thought that was a really interesting way to show that sort of like, I'm gonna make you feel like a princess and I'm gonna work hard for you through like the little scenes in the music video. But also, like we were saying in the reaction, this really is sort of the cutest that we've seen them in like their own way. Like this is sort of their version of cute, since like Anna was saying, like they are pretty hip-hop. Like it's because of their facials, it's because of how much personality is in it. But I did want to just like address briefly, because hip-hop itself, like that style, has a lot of personality in it, but it's usually like a lot of bluffing and a lot of bravado and a lot of like, look at me and how fantastic I am. Like that's sort of like the hip-hop personality, like persona, and they've shown that in previous releases that we've seen, but this one was very much like, I'm cute and I'm gonna work hard for you and like let me treat you like a princess. And also something else that contributes to that like cuter feeling from a performance perspective is, one, all of the trendy dances that are in it, and then two, it's really bouncy. Both their previous dances were more grounded than this one is. Like especially Sorry Mama was so like down and grounded, and then this one is like constantly bouncing around and moving, and it's very like light. A couple of other things about the dance that I really liked. So one, they played with levels a lot, and I think it was an interesting and also really smart choice because they repeat sections a lot. Not just the section of the song, but the choreography itself repeats. Like every time they do the non-ehe part, it's the same footwork, except for the very last one where they've changed it up a little bit. And so to avoid it feeling exactly the same and sort of getting repetitive, they play with body levels, so like a lot of completely bending over, like throwing yourself back. And also they play with formations a lot. The formations are constantly changing and the levels of their bodies are constantly changing, so it's the same footwork, but it stays fresh in your mind. They also don't stop ever, which does emphasize that whole like, I'll work hard for you thing. But to combat that, there's a lot of group work built into this, where half of them can sort of take a break while the others keep moving, and then they'll switch so that they can sort of keep that energy up for the whole time, so that by the last like dance break, it's good. My last comment is just something that I thought was really cute. And at the very end, the first time they say, I'll make you feel like a princess, one of the members is like walking in front, and they all do the prince bow down the line, like where they tuck one hand behind their back and one hand forward. And I just thought that was a really cute moment. So, Anna's turn.
Hello, so it's time for my comment. Moving on from that, a lot of my comments overlap with Peyton's a little bit, just because like I was right, the lyrics are literally like working hard for you. But also adding on to what I said earlier about like the cutesy concept, what Peyton said too, all rookie boy groups within their first few releases have a like cutesier release. So I guess this was their version of that. It's really because like all the personality in this, like Peyton talked about their facials, silly ones where they're just like having a good time messing around with each other, but then there's also the ones that are like in line with the song, sort of the sort of like, oh my gosh, I'm so shy but smiling, like really earnest and innocent. With those shots and like the way that they're acting in the music video and like the different settings, I was like, wow, they're really trying to like appeal to the Nuna audience with this song. So talking about the music itself, it's very repetitive like the dance, because this song really is just like personality driven for the most part. You mentioned how the dance is really like bouncy. It's because one really prominent line in this is there's like these sort of bubbly techno synths that are happening throughout the whole thing. You hear it consistently as like ornaments throughout the song. They're higher pitched, lots of reverb, and actually there's a lot of like reverb on lines in this song that creates this sort of like dreamy effect. So is that why towards the end some of them are floating, sort of dreamy, head in the clouds? I especially liked hearing the like bubbly synth lines though towards the end, when there's also all these like riffs and ad-libs happening in the background as well on top of the final chorus. Talking about the chorus, the bass hits that you hear are more rhythmic. They're very punchy. It's sort of interesting because it's like punchy compared to like the sort of bouncy feeling that you've been getting. Backtracking and talking about the pre-chorus, also bass hits. It could be like a more keyboard-esque sounding type of bass synth, or it also just could be like a keyboard playing in lower register. But either way, it's just like one at the start of each measure, outlining the chord for that measure, and lots of reverb on it because it's just sustained throughout the rest of the measure. The perk that they've used is like similar to the ones in their previous releases, but it's not as aggressive, I would say. Like the snare that they're using, usually for like a more aggressive song, you would hear like a long sort of drill sounding snare, but this one is not as harsh sounding for the meaning and style of the song. I feel like this is something I could hear as like a TikTok trend. Yeah, it was interesting. So next.
Alright, so now we are going to be watching DKB's most recent release that came out just a little over a month ago by the time this video is out. And it's called All In. I don't know why I hesitated. Okay.
It's hot in this house.
Alright, so we've returned to like
Angsty.
angst.
This is good for you.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds more like my angst.
You're the only one allowed. Let's be my love. So brave.
Alright, now I'm gonna guess that it's all in for my like feelings for you. I will give you everything.
Like I'll give you it, yeah.
난 지금 벼랑 끝 서서 간절히 기다려봐 Call your reply Then what you gonna say 널 사랑하지 말걸 그랬어 연락조차 안 될 때면 죽겠어 나만 바라보면 정말 좋겠어 너에게만 따줄 거야 baby my heart 줄 거야 모두 줄 거야 모두
That was very like closed off.
You deserve it. You deserve the best and I got it. 넌 내가 잡은 최고의 조합. 끝까지가 태어난 너와.
I know him!
이미 던져진
Oh, is he the one you recognize?
Yeah! I feel like I'm gonna have to explain that later. Anyway.
Ooh, that was nice. Show me more of the dance.
Rip Peyton.
Oh, thank you.
They used chimes.
Mm.
Just like an actual sort of bass kick drum.
I know they keep being shown sitting apart because it's part of like the storyline, but I keep just thinking because it was shot during COVID. I keep...
That like delicate piano theme throughout the whole.
Of all of their title tracks, and I think Anna will agree with me here, I think this one is the most in line with my like normal go-to style of music. And I had a feeling it would be like literally right from the start when the piano started and then you hear sort of like the fuzziness and I was like, oh yes, we're gonna be like in our feels, but it's a pop song by a performance group, so it's gonna be like upbeat angst. So I said in the reaction, like, I wish they were showing more of the dance. And that is still true. Like, I'm not retracting that comment because I'm a dancer. I will never say no to seeing more of the dance. But I will clarify, I see for a release like this and for the message and the concept of the music video why it would be more focused on like close-ups of their faces, individual shots, sort of like the longing, just meandering through the streets. A couple of things about the dance that I did notice, and a lot of this stuck out in the music video, but I like cross-checked it with the dance practice. So just a couple of general observations first. Once again, lots of levels. I think that's just a DKB thing at this point. This one was interesting though, because I feel like it was a lot more quick level changes, whereas before it would be something where like the formation would change or they would all like kind of go down and there'd be a pause before coming back up with the level changing. This one was like from the start to the end of a movement, a level would change and then go back. Like they'd sort of bounce out of it and reset and then like go down and reset. They did have the other changes as well, like with the levels and the formations and stuff, but the ones within a singular movement were more prominent, which was interesting. And then again, lots of small group work because the dance doesn't stop once it gets going, and so by using the small groups, they're able to give people like sort of quick breaks to catch their breath before going into the next thing. But a couple of just more specific comments. Why did I say it like that? I thought it was interesting how they did the same move different ways, and a good example of that is this one that they did on the Trukoya. Why can't I say that word today? So they did it sort of like 3 times in a row during that section, and the first way was more like outward facing and it was really big, and then it came in and it got fast, and then they did the exact same movement slower, and the line itself like doesn't change what they're singing, but the 3 different movements to it that are all like connected but still like variations of it made me perceive like the message that they're saying at that time differently, so that was interesting. Another thing was they sort of had a return to acrobatics in this one, which I had sort of missed in the last one. It's not really acrobatics, but the push-up jump, they got airtime there. Like they didn't just sort of come up and then down, their whole bodies came up and then they went down on an angle. That's so hard. Your wrists take a beating when you do that. The last thing, I thought their transitions were interesting this time because not the whole dance, like there are parts where they're just walking to formation or they're walking on or off stage, but especially in the chorus, they're using the dance as transition between formations. So they're not like doing the movements and then moving to a new formation, which is something that you see more often in K-pop. They're actually doing the movement from formation to formation, which makes it feel more continuous. So that was interesting. Anna's turn.
Okay, so for my comments, I feel like first I need to explain in the reaction when I was like, I know him! So if you watched our previous DKB DKB reaction, we were like, we didn't really know them that well. That's still true, but like a little while ago, like months ago, I watched one video of them on YouTube. It was like an interview or something, and he is the only one that I remembered. Sorry to everyone else, but Junsa, he's the only one I remembered. So cute. Anyways, like general comments about the song, there's this like really deep, punchy synth bass throughout the entire song. It's pretty infrequent during like the verses, pre-chorus, but during the chorus it's more frequent. It doesn't really have reverb on it. I wouldn't say it's having reverb on it. It's just that the pitch itself of that synth bass, because it does have pitch, because you know there's the ones that like don't really have pitch. This one does. The pitch is just sustaining itself until the next bass hit comes in. So I wouldn't call that reverb because it doesn't have that sort of like hazy effect on it. But yeah, I've noticed they use like very punchy basses. Like aggressively punchy basses. But then that is contrasted with, I mentioned the really delicate sort of piano line that you hear throughout the whole thing as well, like right from the start. It actually helps divide the beat a little bit. Not that it's like counting every single quarter note, every single eighth note, but since it's like moving like pretty frequently, it outlines it a little bit. The way I was interpreting those two, it was like, okay, the bass is like the deep angst, I'm really like sad, but then the piano line is like, oh, but my feelings are like delicate and fragile right now. My favorite section in this song is the second half of the second verse, the rap section for it. The dude with the red hair, I'm sorry I don't know his name, but he's the one rapping during that section. I really like it because of all the beat changes that happen. The piano line has been helping you figure out what sort of tempo you want to feel the song in. During his rap section, the piano line is missing, and because it doesn't have that beat divide and like only the more infrequent bass, you start to feel the beat in a sort of halftime, so it feels slower. And then for the end of his rap section, there are these like the punchy bass hits, doubling what his rapping sort of like punchy rap hits are happening, and those are in quarter note triplets. So like in a matter of seconds, you go from feeling it in this, and then halftime, and then like the triplets are being counted. So I just thought that that was really interesting in like a very short amount of time, because I really like beat changes like that. That's all I have to say.
TLDR for this reaction is we reacted again to DKB, DKB. We reacted to them again quickly after our last and first reaction to them as promised, so that we could get to their most recent comeback, All In. And I think, once again, like in our first reaction, they showed us two different sides to themselves within their sort of like genre style sound that they're developing. And so they're showing versatility. I'm really hot too. They're showing like versatility and exploration within this like distinct sound that they're creating, which is interesting to see.
That being said, if you enjoyed this reaction video, also have been intrigued by DKB and their honestly very clear sound and concepts that they've had right from the start, then please leave a like, comment, subscribe, ding, turn on your notification bell, and bye!